Greetings. I'm Dr. Jennifer Madden, Dean of the School of Business and Society at the University of Redlands. Today, I want to talk about the power of emotional intelligence and how it allows each of us to lead from where we are. Think for a moment about the best leader you've ever experienced. It may have been a supervisor, a teacher, a coach, a colleague, or someone who never held a formal leadership title at all. What made that person memorable? Perhaps they believed in you before you fully believed in yourself. Perhaps they challenged you, but did so in a way that made you want to rise to the occasion. Perhaps they listened carefully, remained steady during difficult moments, or helped you see possibilities that you could not have seen in yourself. Now I want you to think about the opposite experience. Think about a leader whose presence caused you to become guarded, a leader who created anxiety, confusion, or fear, a leader who may have been knowledgeable and accomplished, but whose behavior caused you to withdraw, underperform, or stop contributing. We often assume the difference between these two leaders is intelligence or authority or technical expertise. But I want you to think again about how each of them made you feel. One may have made you feel seen and trusted and capable and willing to stretch. The other may have made you feel anxious, guarded, diminished, or afraid to make a mistake. Those feelings were not incidental to their leadership. The way those leaders made you feel influenced how you performed, influenced how much you contributed, and whether you were willing to speak honestly, take risks, or bring your best ideas forward. This is the power of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize and understand our own emotions and manage ourselves, as well as perceive the emotions and experiences of others and manage our relationships effectively. At its core, it includes four components: self awareness, self management, social awareness, and relationship management. Emotional intelligence matters because you may not control your position. You may not control your circumstances, and you certainly cannot control the behavior of everyone around you. But you can lead through how you understand yourself, how accurately you perceive others, and how intentionally you shape what happens next. Leadership does not begin only when someone gives you a title, a budget, or a team. Leadership begins with how you show up. Every one of us contributes to the emotional climate around us. We bring energy into a room before we bring our ideas, our credentials, or our expertise. And emotions are contagious. Calm can spread, so can anxiety. Hope can spread, but so can cynicism. Trust can grow through one interaction, but it can also be weakened by one careless response. That means you do not have to be the most senior person in the room to influence the room. You can be the person who creates greater calm, greater clarity, greater courage, greater connection. I want to translate the emotional intelligence competency into three simple practices: pause, perceive, proceed, right? First, pause. Pause brings together the self awareness and self management components of emotional intelligence. Notice what you are feeling, notice what triggered it, notice what assumptions you may be making. Then regulate your response before your emotions choose it for you. The pause gives us the opportunity to ask, what do I know? What am I assuming? How am I showing up? What response will serve this situation the best? Pausing does not mean we're suppressing our emotions. It means we're recognizing those emotions before they determine our behavior. Sometimes the most important leadership decision is the response we choose not to give immediately. The pause is not passivity, it is the moment in which reaction becomes choice, and that choice becomes leadership. Number two, second, perceive. Perceive is the social awareness. It means reading beyond the words. Notice the emotional currents that are in the room. Notice the unspoken concerns. Notice the power dynamics. Notice who has spoken and who has not, and what people may need in order to move forward. Emotionally intelligent leaders listen for more than words. They notice energy, they notice silence, they notice when someone's resistance may actually be fear, when frustrations may be rooted in confusion, when someone who appears disengaged may actually feel excluded, and that someone else may be seeing something we have missed. Leading from where you are often begins when you notice what others have overlooked. Who is not being heard? What concern has not been named? What is happening beneath the surface? What does this group or person need in order to move forward? You do not need authority to ask those questions. You need attention. You need curiosity, and you need the willingness to listen. Number three, proceed. Proceed is the relationship management. It means choosing the response that creates movement, that preserves dignity, and strengthens the relationship where possible. That response may involve encouragement, it may involve a difficult conversation, it may involve setting a boundary, resolving a conflict, or asking a question. This is especially important during uncertainty and change. When people are anxious, leaders sometimes focus only on the problems or the weaknesses, the deficiencies, the fear, and those issues may be real. They may need to be addressed. But if every leadership conversation begins and ends with what is wrong, people can lose their capacity to imagine what is possible. Emotionally intelligent leaders can tell the truth and still preserve possibility. They can acknowledge the difficulty of the moment while helping people understand that the moment is not the entire story. They help others move from fear towards agency, from confusion towards clarity, from isolation to a connection, from reaction to action, right? That is something any one of us can do wherever we are. Before your next meeting, conversation, or a difficult moment, ask yourself three questions. First, who am I bringing into this room? That's the pause. Second, what might others be experiencing? That's the perception. Third, what response will help us move forward? That's how we proceed. Pause, perceive, proceed. You may not be able to control the room, but you can influence what you bring into it. You may not control every decision, but you can choose how you participate. You may not have the highest title, but you can still be the person who creates calm in uncertainty, clarity in confusion, and courage in difficulty. Leadership is not only what you accomplish, it is also what people experience in your presence. Wherever you are, you have the ability to help people feel more capable, more respected, more hopeful, and more willing to contribute. That's the power of emotional intelligence, and that is how you lead from where you are.